Hello there, everybody. This is Sean Donnelly of the Defend Your Movie podcast. Unfortunately, this week we do not have a brand new episode, but we do have a classic re-release for you guys that I think you're really going to enjoy. But before we get to it, please sign up for our Patreon. It's patreon.com/defendyourmovie. We have a few new bonus episodes for you guys up there. It's definitely worth checking out. It's worth telling your friends. This week's episode is actually a really big deal to me because this comic, he decided to do the show. I've basically one of my comedy idols. The guy, I started comedy because of this guy, and he comes in and he defends the movie Crash with Matt Dillon and a whole slew of cast members. It's Jim Norton, ladies and gentlemen, and please enjoy. Check out the episode. Check out all the back episodes you haven't listened to yet. And like I said, sign up for the Patreon, shoot us an email, whatever you want to do. Let us know what you think about the podcast. Now enjoy Jim Norton Defends Crash.
In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victoria! So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on and on. Bring it to me. Defend your movie.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Defend Your Movie. I am your host, Sean Donnelly. Farrah's laughing at me right now. Why? Because of the weird intro that I had?
Your sudden enthusiasm out of nowhere was jarring to me.
I was normal, and then I don't think that was too enthusiastic of an intro.
It was just strikingly different from the moment before.
Oh,
I'm sorry, continue.
All right, no problem. Well, welcome to another edition of the show. I'm here with my co-host, Farrah Brooke, and we have a very special guest this week. The hilarious, you know who he is. It's Jim Norton, everybody.
Thank you. I always hate starting shows, too. I always think
It's
I don't
so
know how
strange.
to start a show.
Yeah.
A big boy performance hat on, and I never know how to do it. I do it every morning. I start a show, and
Yeah.
I never know what to say.
Yeah, but do you have the luxury where, do you have to talk first on that show, or does Sam talk
It
first?
doesn't matter. I mean, we have like a kind of a ridiculous intro on purpose. So we fake enthusiasm, but everybody knows it's faked enthusiasm. Like, you know, so it's kind of easier now. But I never know what to say. Welcome to the show. Or I'm not good at
right.
that.
Yeah.
And also, like, radio, there's a little bit more leeway. I think, like, podcasts, people think they're way cooler, so they have to, like, ease into the opening of the show. The famous one is Pete Holmes. Pete Holmes just starts talking to you and then records it, and then he just starts, and then you're just starting, and you don't know why. And it's the most natural way to do it, but nobody wants to do it anymore because they think they're ripping them off by doing it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's okay to do. That's what John Cazale would do scenes. You know, they said, like, in Dog Day Afternoon or whatever, like, when he gets comfortable, he would get ready, and then he would just start talking to you sometimes and then begin the dialogue. Like, he had to have a moment, I guess, of real whatever.
Oh, yeah. Like a real conversation
Yeah,
moment?
about something.
You know what's so
makes sense.
funny? I took an acting class, and that was one of the exercises. You just start talking, and then the teacher would go, okay, start the scene. And then as you're talking, you do the scene. Exactly how he did it.
That's always the weirdest part for me is when they go, all right, action. So where are you going, Susan?
Yeah.
But again, most people, we interviewed John McGinley yesterday.
John
who's
McGinley's
phenomenal.
great. He's great.
And he's an intense guy.
Is he? Wait, John McGinley from John McGinley
Full Metal
from
Jacket, from
yeah.
Platoon and Wall Street.
Yes, the older guy, the dad from Frasier, right? No, that's not John. No,
he was in. He plays in Scrubs. He was in Platoon. He played the guy who hung out with Tom Berenger the whole movie.
Yes.
Bob, I'm not going to make it out of here, Bob. You know him if you see him.
Yes, I know exactly. He's in a bunch of commercials now too.
I don't know.
He's great. Yeah, he's in Scrubs. He's the wise ass doctor in Scrubs.
I don't watch Scrubs.
Okay, yeah, I know exactly who you're talking. He's awesome, that guy.
He was in news radio with talk radio with Eric Bogosian.
Yes. Yeah.
But anyway, he was talking about Oliver Stone and saying like how Oliver Stone's a guy who has like a vision of a movie and that's it. Like you don't creatively, like Oliver has what he wants. So like I'm thinking like that method of doing that would be hard with a guy like Oliver Stone.
Because you'd be messing up his vision.
Yeah, like he probably doesn't want people to start talking. He's just like, fucking do your job, motherfucker, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure if John Cazale did it, he'd tolerate it, but not from me.
Well, that's what they said about when Oliver Stone Originally, with Natural Born Killers, you ever hear this before? The characters from Natural Born Killers were the alter egos of the characters from True Romance, because Tarantino wrote Natural Born Killers, and he had it as one big movie. And that's...
I didn't know he wrote Natural Born Killers. I knew he wrote True Romance.
He wrote Natural Born Killers, but then Oliver Stone rewrote it. And he changed it, like he chopped it up like crazy.
Oh, I never knew that. Okay.
Yeah, so he probably did it because he wanted to do it his Oliver Stone way.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you know I told you this on the podcast I think once. I wasn't in it, but I told you I tried out. I didn't want to try out for Born on the 4th of July. My sister.
You didn't tell me that.
We went to an open call audition for Born on the 4th of July for my sister, and they wanted me to stay behind to audition for as young Tom Cruise, I guess, which makes no sense. But
why I see it.
I'm almost 40 now. It didn't work out that way at all.
If they wanted me to audition as Ron Kovic's legs.
What's it called? So I went to there, and I think Oliver Stone was there while it was going on. And it was like an open call. Yeah, that was a good movie.
Oh, man, was that great.
It was a really good movie.
That's the best thing Tom Cruise ever did. Like, the fact that he didn't win the Oscar for that was great. I forget who beat him that year, but I thought he should have won the Oscar.
See, I would say the best thing, and it's actually perfect segue, the best thing I think Tom Cruise ever did was Magnolia, acting-wise.
Okay.
You know why? From what I found out, and this is my theory, because I found out that's his life. He didn't talk to his dad for like years and years and years, and then he talked to his dad on his deathbed.
Oh, okay.
And
I don't remember the movie.
Oh, Magnolia?
Yeah, I've seen it, but I don't remember it. It was good.
But the reason why it's a good segue is because the movie we're doing today that you're defending,
Sure.
You're defending Crash, which is from 2004. It won the Oscar for Best Picture. I think Terrence Howard won for Best Supporting
No, he
Actor.
didn't. He wasn't even nominated, and he should have been.
He should have been. Yeah, he should have been. Well, that's my point about the movie. I'll get into that. But it reminded me of like a No Frills Magnolia. Like it took a lot from Magnolia, but I think Magnolia came out in '99. So yeah, that would make sense. Like the way they shot it, the way all the stories intertwined.
Boogie Nights also did that. The stories intertwined a lot, like weird moments, like when Don Cheadle's in the getting donuts, and then Burt Reynolds and the girl drive by.
Yes. Yeah, right. But this one was like they were even more in each other's lives. So basically, I saw it a while ago, and I think I forgot I saw it. I rewatched it today, actually last night and today. I rewatched it, and I got to say, I'm not a fan of this movie. I'm not a fan.
I've had to defend it before.
I tried to watch the trailer, and I got bored just with that.
With the trailer,
I couldn't. It was a bad trailer.
Are you sure you're thinking of the right Crash? There's another one with James Spader.
Yeah, it's the one where him and the girl have sex to car crashes. They get off on it.
It wasn't that.
No, it wasn't that one. It was with Matt Dillon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was. But
it seemed like dramatic, like something, I don't know.
Yeah, it was super dramatic.
A lot of stories.
And it's actually, when I asked you to do the podcast, you brought up a good point. You're like, you have to make sure you don't like the movie because it makes no point for you to defend a movie to me that I like.
Yeah.
Right, which I get, which we do mostly on here. I don't like the movie or it's a terrible movie.
And it's usual that I haven't seen the movie.
Okay.
Just so.
You know what the issue I had with this movie was? It was like, there was no subtlety in this movie. Like, it was literally, when I knew what the movie was about, I thought I didn't see it, but I think I either saw scenes of it or I saw it a long time ago when it first came out. The issue I had was like, yeah, it was a movie about race relations, but you could have done it in a way different way. Like, you could have done it not as not beating you over the head with it like this movie did. And I know that was the point of the script, and the whole thing was about race. In fact, that was the plot pretty much. The plot was race. The underlying plot was race. There's a bunch of little mini stories that are based around race relations.
Race and racial interpretations, yeah.
But it just went off the rails.
Wait,
like,
is
when
this
you get
the
to the
same
end,
movie?
That's
both
it,
Crash?
Yeah. No, it's Crash. It was like critically acclaimed when it came out. And right now on Rotten Tomatoes it has 75%, which is pretty good for Rotten Tomatoes.
But that's about race?
Yes. A lot of it is about race.
A lot of it's about race. That's supposed to be what the deep part of the movie is.
Okay.
But like you literally have all these little mini stories. So you have race within like this black couple, which is Terrence Howard, and what's her name?
I don't remember her name.
I knew it. She's in Westworld now. She's awesome, and they have a moment where they get pulled over by Matt Dillon, who's the racist cop, and they have a whole storyline where
Philippe, what's his name?
Ryan Philippe,
yeah.
who is Reese Witherspoon's ex-husband, who's actually pretty decent in this movie, and
Roger Ebert gave it 4 out of 4.
Yeah, I don't understand why.
I'll tell you, I don't know what the motives of the film writers are. People thought it was politically correct. I thought it wasn't at all. Because they vilify in a way that Hollywood normally doesn't vilify. Like little dumb shit, like in the opening scene, Brendan Fraser and Sandra Bullock are the married couple. He's the DA, that's his wife. And they're going to get into a car, and they see two black guys. It's Ludacris, and I forget who the other guy was.
Lorenz Tate.
Who was great.
He's great, yeah.
And you think it's going to be this lesson about judgment. And what happens is the two black guys do rob them. And you realize they were right to be scared. So like they knock down and they do a lot of things that Hollywood typically doesn't do. They typically give you this ham-handed social message. But with these guys, like, they gave you that, but they also gave you the opposite of every person. Like, they gave redemption in places that Hollywood normally never gives redemption. And they vilified in ways that Hollywood normally doesn't vilify.
Well, you know what it was? That would be great. First of all, the movie could have been an hour and a half, and that would be great.
How long was it?
It was an hour and like 50 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But also, that would be great if they did it in ways that made sense. What I mean by the wheels fell off of this thing is by the end, there's one of the plot. There's all these mini stories, like you literally they're just running into each other constantly. That's the whole idea. The first line that Don Cheadle says a line in the beginning where he's like, I think we're all not meant to be together. We're all just crashing into each other at all times. And then there's like literal crashes in the movie, which brings the storylines together.
Like car crashes?
Car crashes, but he's also talking about humans just crashing into each other, and then we have our little skirmishes or whatever. But there's a point when after Lorenz Tate and Ludacris steal the car, they're not paying attention. They're yelling. Ludacris is like this, like, he's like almost like a...
He's a militant black guy.
He's a militant black guy, but he has all these wacky theories on things about how rap music was created by white people to keep black people down, like that kind of thing. So while they're talking about that and they're flipping the stations to country, and Lorenz Tate is like, this is some country bullshit, whatever it is, they hit a Chinese guy. They completely goes under the car, whatever it is, right? They smack into him. And then also, there's weird dialogue in that scene where, like, and I don't know if it's the point of Paul Haggis to write it this way, but he's like, you hit a Chinaman. Like, I know black dudes call him Chinaman or whatever it is, but he's like, you hit a Chinaman. They say the word Chinaman 15 times during that scene. It just seems so beating you over the head with it. And literally, so they hit this guy, and then finally Lorenz Tate's like, we have to take him to the hospital. So they drop him off at the hospital. And you're like, oh my God, this poor Chinese guy got hit, and he was just going to his, like, probably, you're supposed to assume his laundry van.
Sure.
That's your racist white brain being like, that's his laundry van. But at the end of the movie, they reveal he was a human trafficker.
And there's people in the van.
And there's people in the
Wait. This does sound awesome.
No, it's not awesome.
It was awesome. I'll tell you what, because they
fucking cool.
You don't see any of it coming, and every time you think that they're going to pull the hero move, they don't. And there's certain things that were representative. They like, you know, the couple that it's just too complex to go into, but the couple that gets pulled over, Matt Dillon is the dirty cop, and he winds up saving that girl from the wife who he actually felt up from a car that's burning. Now, I didn't look at that like, oh, that's him and her meeting up again. It was more representative of this is the relationship between black people and the cops. And, you know, a lot of times the cops are shitty, but there is this other side, like, yeah, this is what these guys do as well.
Right.
They will crawl into a burning car and pull you out of it. So you don't normally see that kind of redemption in a film from Hollywood. And you normally don't see them calling themselves out the way they did with Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard's a black director, and and Tony Danza plays this fucking like scummy producer,
which is crazy. Tony Danza plays the boss, and
he plays the boss.
A lot of stars in this movie.
So it was one of the best cast films ever. And so Tony Danza goes up to him after the scene is shot. He goes about to do a spot with two black kids talking, and he goes, "Yeah, but he seems like he's smartened up a little bit. He's criticizing it because he said they were talking too white." Like, he's like, isn't he supposed to be the smart one? So he made them redo it. And Terrence Howard's having this weird dilemma as a black director. Like, this is how I see these characters. This is how I see black people. And this is how Hollywood sees black people.
And this is literally the day after he got pulled over with his wife, and his wife got felt up by a white cop in front of him, and he couldn't do anything about it. And then he's being told, don't have this guy talk white on this show.
They normally don't call themselves out with that shit, though. Hollywood almost never calls themselves out on that
it
paternal...
sounds very self-aware and almost like Is it a joke? It
No,
sounds
no.
serious,
It was
but-
serious.
No, it's serious, and they call out TV. They call out TV when they do that.
Well,
and I guess
no, yeah.
TV is the one who's doing it. The TV shows are the ones who are doing it.
I'm sure movies do it too, but I mean, I think that was probably just because that was just what he did. But maybe that was just I didn't take that as just TV.
Yeah,
But maybe.
You know what it is? I think what happened. Have you seen Magnolia? You haven't
No.
seen it. Oh, you haven't seen any. That's
I
the
don't
whole
remember
point
it.
of Magnolia was Paul Thomas Anderson. It was his follow-up from Boogie Nights, and it has the same vibe that Crash has. But to me, it's weirder. I think the script is better. I think it's better casting. Like Jason Robards is in it. Julianne
was
Moore.
great, yeah.
And he plays like Jason Robards dies. Like, not to get too morbid, dies in Magnolia like my dad died. Like he fucking nails it. Like, it's insane how real it is. And then Tom Cruise, who it plays this like 2-bit like self-help guru guy, which really mirrors his life because he is like a big he's kind of a phony baloney actor. Like, he's not taken seriously really up until this point. But in real life, apparently, like Tom Cruise apparently didn't know his dad, and then he was called when his dad was on his deathbed, and he went to him. I don't know what happened detail-wise,
Right.
but that's why I think Tom Cruise is so good in Magnolia, because it's the most real thing that he did. So when I watch Crash, I just even based on camera shots alone and stories intertwining and like a little bit of weirdness here and there, like I can't not think of Magnolia, and I think of Magnolia as such a more superior movie that I can't get it out of my head. Do you know what I'm saying?
But when you look, I mean, sorry to interrupt you. When you look at Crash, though, like the way Matt Dillon seems like, oh, he's this awful racist cop, the stereotypical. But the way they humanize him in that, then all of a sudden you feel something for him, and you're like, okay, he's not this piece of shit. The good guy becomes the one who makes the fucking stupid, the one who's supposed to be the good guy makes the stupid assumption.
Well, that's what I think. That's what I noted. Yeah, at the end. So Ryan Felipe is the cop who there's a lot to discuss, but like basically Ryan Felipe, his partner, when Matt Dillon feels up Terrence Howard's wife, Ryan Felipe is there watching the whole thing, getting really upset because he's like doesn't think it should be going on. Yeah. So then what happens is Ryan Felipe's like, I need a new partner, so he gets reassigned. Terrence Howard, at one point, he's like at the end of his rope. He gets carjacked by Ludacris and Lorenz Tate, and he's like, "Fuck!" And that's actually a great scene because he just fights back the carjacking. But then he gets him, he beats him up. They get back in the car and they take off. So it's two black guys in the car. So the cops are chasing. They're not gonna, They're not going to be like, oh, we'll differentiate from the two black guys. So they get to a cul-de-sac and they stop, and then Terrence Howard just had enough, and he gets out and he's like, what do you want me to do? And Ryan Felipe's one of the cops, Ryan Felipe, whatever, and he goes, I know this man. It's supposed to be this big moment where he's like, I know this man. He's like, listen, this situation you don't want, you'll get killed, you'll get your head blown off. He's like, I don't care. They go back and forth. So then what happens is, fast forward to Ryan Felipe later in the movie is driving. Lorenz Tate for some reason is hitchhiking, which is kind of a weird plot hole because nobody does that. Even in 2004, nobody was hitchhiking.
Well, I think some
in
things
LA.
they were doing purposely to get to
certain plot points.
To get to certain points, but I felt like I got why they were doing it, and I didn't mind why they were doing it.
You didn't mind it, yeah. So
No.
he gets in the car with Ryan Felipe. They get into a little mini argument. It's a misunderstanding. Ryan Felipe. So what you're supposed to notice is Ryan Felipe is prejudiced because he sees Lorenz Tate goes into his pocket to show him that he has the same religious
Medal of Christopher or something.
St. Christopher.
Yeah. Okay.
And he sees it on Ryan Felipe's dash, and he starts laughing. And Ryan Felipe's like, "Get out of my car!" He's like, "No, I just want to show you something." Goes in his pocket. Ryan Felipe grabs his pistol, shoots him. So the whole moral is, yeah, Matt Dillon may be racist, but Ryan Felipe is the one that actually killed somebody, and he's supposed to be this good guy.
Well, I think it was more about we make all these judgments on people. And it gave redemption to everybody in the movie, and also it crucified everybody in the movie. It showed everybody really ugly, and it showed the stereotypes are not always wrong. I liked the way they showed both sides of every person. There was no one that had total redemption. There was no typical Hollywood hero at the end of it, and that was why I liked it so much. Besides the acting, like Don Cheadle was amazing in that. Terrence Howard should have been nominated.
He
for
should have
it.
been nominated.
That
for
scene
it.
when he drops off fucking Ludacris, you embarrass me, you embarrass yourself. Oh fuck, phenomenal! That's one of the best lines I've ever seen anybody say in a movie.
Great. Yeah.
That was tremendous. And Don Cheadle, I mean, he's one of my favorite people. So Don Cheadle is great in everything. But he always you didn't see the reveal at the end of the film what his relationship to the other guy was. You didn't see that. You didn't understand the bringing stuff to his mother, who it was she was looking for. The whole it's just great, dude. I loved it.
Yeah, But one of the things that I thought was a little bit over the top was the reason why I don't think Matt Dillon got as much redemption as everybody else, because there's a scene where he goes, I think, to like the social worker of the hospital, who's a black woman, and he just goes from 0 to 60. He gets in there and she's like, I can't do anything for your dad. Your HMO only allows these certain doctors, and they think that he needs this treatment. And he's like, so if I go out of network and they say it's not, will you guys help me? He's like, no. And immediately, right away, he jumps down her throat with like race stuff. And I'm like, that was a little bit gratuitous, I think. I think that made it like it made me feel personally when I watched him later on, and they're supposed to be humanizing because his dad has like a bad prostate infection or something, and he's like helping him off the toilet. It's all this like really vulnerable stuff. But I'm still like, yeah, but you're an asshole. Like Hold on,
let me defend him though, because by the time that scene happened, he had already been on the phone with her, and he had been going back and forth with them. It was not the first time he encountered this. He had gotten bullshit on the phone, and so he finally went down in person after an argument on the phone.
Yeah.
So he tried to be a human being in person. And the woman was black, and Matt Dillon didn't throw racist, horrible shit at him in the office. What Matt Dillon said to him was, you know, my father worked worked really hard to make sure that black people were like. He wasn't trying to say fuck black people. He was trying to say my father did so many nice things for black. Like maybe it was the misguided thing.
Yeah.
And it was stupid, but it is something somebody would say in a moment of rage. And by that point, he had already had arguments with her on the phone, and she had hung up on him, I think. They had communicated before on the phone. He didn't just show up out of the blue. So he was showing up to this fucking woman that we've all had to deal with. This fucking systematic shithead who won't do anything for you, and all you want to do is say something that's going to hurt them and be angry with them. I mean, that was what I took away from it.
Yeah, I could see that. I just thought that because the original encounter, she tells him her name's Shaniqua, and he goes, well, of course.
Yeah.
And she hangs right up on him, and then she goes to see him, and she's like, send him in, which is like a very petty thing. You know, she wants him to come in so she can be the one that gets
supposed to be confrontational with him.
Yeah, she wants to be confrontational. So she was but when he goes in there, he goes right to whatever. Like he talks about it. Like the argument didn't match up for me. He saw like his dad having black employees as the reason that she should help him out right then and there. It just didn't ring like.
And then he wasn't able to redeem himself in your eyes.
I just didn't have as much sympathy as far as other people.
After he pulled a lady out of a burning car? I thought that was pretty good. That humanized him as, again, the idea that it was just him and her again, to me was an obvious point they were making, which is just the relationship between people and the cops. And the fact is that cops do shit like that. As much as they can be dicks, there is that one element. They literally will crawl into a car that's about to burn to save your ass.
Right.
And it's like, that to me really redeemed him.
I do like that. I'll tell you this much. Let's ask this. Do you think the way that Hollywood is now, do you think they would make this movie? They beat you over the head with race. It's almost good and bad how much they beat you over the head with it, because I think it makes it a little bit like overly dramatic. I'd rather it be more like subtle and in the looks and in the like. There's so.
It sounds like the most serious movie.
I love it.
It's pretty serious.
John Cheadle is very funny in that.
He's great. Yeah, he's awesome in it. But what I'm wondering is the way it is now. Would they explore that in a Hollywood movie?
I think so. I don't know. Again, I don't know the motives of the guys who made it. I think they might, sure, but I don't know if they would. I don't know if people. Maybe I took it in a way that I wanted to see it, but that was what I got out of it. I was surprised with certain things that they did, like the little girl. I thought she was going to get shot. And the fact that she didn't kind of went against what typically Hollywood has been doing. Like, I thought they were going to kill. I just loved it.
That's another plot line that we didn't even discuss.
That's right.
And it is interesting. We haven't talked about this in movies in general, where stuff like the feeling that you know what's going to happen.
You always know. The
you
couples
just know.
Get together.
Right. And then, but when it doesn't, and how exciting that can be.
Yeah.
It was also, that plot point is about, all right, the guy, not Lorenz, what's the guy's name? Michael Pena. He plays a locksmith. He goes, there's a guy, a Persian guy, owns a store. Everybody thinks he's Arab, and, what happens is he has a busted door. So Michael Pena goes in to fix his lock, and he realizes it's not the lock. He replaces the lock and goes, it's not the lock, it's the door. He tries to explain to him that, hey, you need a new door, not a new lock. And the guy freaks and thinks he's trying to cheat him. And there's there's a miscommunication there because the guy doesn't speak English as well as Michael Pena. But Michael Pena is a good guy, and he goes, fine, forget it, whatever. And he tells his company, goes back. Now, the guy's store gets vandalized. And they put Raghead on the wall, and they do all this crazy stuff. So this is another thing that I didn't like this storyline.
Okay.
Because I found it like not like it doesn't have to be based in reality. It's a movie, but this isn't based in reality at all.
Yes.
Nobody's going to go after like I don't see anybody going after the locksmith. It's weird to go after the locksmith. So what happens is he finds out from his insurance company. They say, well, it's negligence because you were told the door was broken and you didn't fix the door. So he starts to freak and he goes based on the work order. He goes and finds Michael Pena's house and waits for him outside his house. And then he sees him come home, and he shows up, and he goes, give me my money. I want my money from my store. You owe me my money. That, to me, overly dramatic, made no sense for the movie. It would never happen. Like, nobody would go, I don't see this guy who's supposed to be, because you're not supposed to be, this is a guy who bought the gun like 2 days prior.
But his daughter had bought him bullets.
Yeah, that's the whole. That's an interesting part.
Yeah,
when
you don't see
she
that
didn't
coming.
get shot, I
How
was
many
like,
different
oh.
storylines are going
A bunch.
on?
A bunch.
But it's not that hard to follow when you're watching it.
No, it's not that far because you just keep jumping back and forth. So what happens is his daughter, they go to the gun store. The gun store guy gives him a whole thing about being in the Taliban or whatever it is, and he freaks and he leaves. The daughter goes, give me the bullets or give me my money back. I want my money back. And the gun store guy is like, what kind of bullets you want? She's like, red box. And he goes, you know what those do? And they don't tell you.
Right. And you assume that they're going to be big, yeah.
Yeah, you assume like hollow point bullets or something. And then if you fast forward, he's outside Michael Pena's house. The daughter is out there, runs out to to protect the father. The guy fires off the gun. Nothing happens because the bullets that she bought were blanks.
Yeah, and you don't see it coming. I didn't see it coming.
I didn't either until when she didn't get shot. You're like, oh, and then I was like blanks in my head, and then they showed the box of blanks, and I was like, all right.
I thought he just missed.
What's a box of
That's
blanks?
what I thought.
My balls.
What's a box
Like,
of blanks?
why would you buy?
Starter pistols have like
So
blanks.
you're like learning how to shoot?
No, like to start a race.
Yeah.
Or like, people just get blanks, or for movie sets and stuff, they get blanks.
Okay.
So that there's not an actual bullet in there, but the gun makes the sound like the muzzle goes off, whatever.
Right.
So that's the thing. I almost would have rather it that he missed. I don't know why. I like the plot twist a little bit.
Yeah,
I always love a plot twist, but I'm like, there's so many in this movie that I was like, couldn't it just been that he missed and it was a weird divine intervention?
There are certain things in movies that could be more realistic. Sure. I mean, and I like realism in movies, but I didn't mind it. I still liked it. It still made me happy when she didn't get shot. Like, I don't know. Everything about this movie I liked. I liked it was Sandra Bullock, Brendan Fraser, Don Cheadle, Ludacris, and what's his name? Michael Pena.
And Lorenz Tate.
Lorenz Tate, Terrence Howard, who was incredible, Matt Dillon, Ryan Philippe, what's his name? Keith David had a great cameo as a police sergeant.
Tony Danza.
Thoughts
and prayers.
Power cast.
Amazing.
Thoughts and prayers.
That was a great scene he had, though. The fucking sergeant about, that doesn't say very much about my command. That was a great, when he's just putting on his stuff to go home.
Well, he's great. He's awesome.
He's great in everything.
Well, and the thing is, I think you're right. I think it had a great cast. But what I'm saying is that I just think they missed the mark at certain point. It got TV movie-ish after a while. It got Lifetime Movie of the Week. It was like a really good cast for like a Lifetime Movie of the Week. Like I enjoyed certain parts of it, but as an overall movie, I was like, it missed the mark. As far as like, it was almost like they were trying to drive home too much. Like, look how important this is.
I can't see if any other way they could have done it. And with all of those stories, to connect all of them the way they connected them, I can't think of a way they would have done it that would have made me enjoy it as much. I don't know why I enjoyed it as much as I did. I loved it. And I keep saying that, but it's like, I don't know what they could have done more subtle. They would have had to cut certain stories out, and I just enjoyed every aspect of it.
If you watch Magnolia, because Magnolia...
I've seen it, but it's been a while.
Okay, Magnolia, it kind of does... If I corrected this movie, it would be Magnolia. But there's no race aspect to Magnolia. The interesting part of this, what they were trying to go for, was that this is, what you see isn't always what you get, and race relations and all that.
Stereotypes.
Magnolia is just a straight up story that has intertwining, but they're intertwining it in a way subtler, less. It's still dramatic movie.
Was it a different
but
subject though?
It's higher drama. What?
But it might be a different subject too.
Right. Like, why do you keep comparing?
Because if Magnolia is covering
the look and the tone of the movies are very, very similar.
But if they're covering something, race is a weird one, and it's hard to make certain. Like if you do race almost too subtly, people just take it at face value. Oh, okay. Do you understand what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's a little harder with race to kind of drive 5 different points home, but they were showing different people being racist. Like, you don't normally see films showing black people be racist against Asians. You know, you only see white people being racist because that's what Hollywood's comfortable with. That's the fucking politically correct way to look at it. And then at the end of the movie, the Shaniqua woman has a bit of a car accident and she starts bad-mouthing Asians.
Yeah, she doesn't speak American.
And so you realize that it's something that we all do.
Yeah.
We all make snap judgments. We all do these things. But, like, how could they have showed that in her without just that stupid moment? Like, they're just showing that we all have these moments. That the good white cop had that racist moment. The fucking bad racist cop has human moments. Like, nothing is as it appears.
Yeah, well, I took that away from it. I like the fact, like you said, they basically just evened everything out. You ended from where you started.
Yeah.
And there was the thing I liked about the movie was there wasn't really a happy ending to this movie. It wasn't a straightforward arc of like, okay, now it's good, which is good for a Hollywood movie. Any Hollywood movie that doesn't have a straight up happy ending, I almost always enjoy it because they never do that either.
Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. I realize, I hate to say this at almost 50 years old, I like a happy ending.
So do I. But
I don't just mean the type that you obviously think I mean. I mean like film-wise. I like...
Well, you film that too.
Cuckoo's Nest, I do. Cuckoo's Nest is torturous to watch.
Oh, no, yeah. No,
It's
it's
a
brutal.
terrible film to watch. It's one of my favorite movies, but it's hard to watch because I know it's not going to give me a happy ending.
Oh, there's tons of movies like that. That you have that where the movie you'll watch once and you love it, but you'll never watch it again. You know what was like that for me? You must have seen Happiness. You ever see Happiness?
Sure.
Any Todd Solondz movie is the most depressing.
You know what movie doesn't have a happy ending?
What?
The Notebook.
You know, I saw
It
part of that.
doesn't.
I hated the guy in that because he cock-blocked the date by climbing up on the fucking Ferris wheel. I'm like, how is that romantic, this fucking date rapist
All right,
cock-blocker?
wait.
I hated that guy. Hold on, the old bag didn't know that was her husband she was talking to? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
But he looks so hot in the suspenders, and he can climb. He has the strength, and it's whimsical.
I know, but he humiliates this poor schlub on a date with her. I mean,
does.
what guy didn't see themselves in the schlub's position?
I saw myself in that guy's position.
Anyway, that movie doesn't have a happy ending.
I have to see
They
it. I didn't watch the
die.
end. Oh, okay, really?
Well, they do die
Well,
together.
they die together,
But
they die in the same hospital bed. Like
Oh.
he climbs in, and then they both die at the same time.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah.
But I figured it out pretty soon. I'm like, he's got to be married to her, and she just doesn't know it's him.
Yeah, you're right. Well, this movie was made for this. I was shocked to read this. It was made for $6 million.
What's that, The Notebook?
Crash.
Oh, I didn't know that.
$6 million, which is nothing.
that's low.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with that cast, sure.
And also, Sandra Bullock wanted to be in it so bad she paid for her own airline ticket to get to the set.
Hell
Did
yeah.
she really?
Good for
Yeah.
her.
Wow.
Good for her.
And they wanted to film. They wanted him. One of the sticking points, Paul Haggis.
She paid for her own airline ticket?
Yeah.
Good for fucking Sandra Bullock.
Yeah. Well, I think this was the first part of her whole like. Because then she won for The Blind Side, which was
did.
what 5 years after that, 4 years after that, or whatever. So this was her foray into like real drama movies.
Like The Blind Side. That, to me, was ham-handed white people goodness. See, what Hollywood gets wrong, this is why The Help I didn't like. I thought the acting was great. But it's this fucking shit where it's a bunch of self-congratulating white people.
Yeah.
Going, like, in The Help... what they're doing is they're just basically concentrating on the drama of the white people who help. They're not doing anything emotional for these fucking people who are treated like shit. And the big victory they give the woman as she shits in the cake, like that's such a fucking bullshit.
Did not like that movie
Written
either.
victory. It's not a real victory. It means nothing. To me, that's what Hollywood always does. So that's why Crash was very refreshing to me to hear people talking like that and to see that the message wasn't that. Ooh, girl, you gave him a shit pie. Shut up. The fuck is that? Stop it. That's not a real victory.
You're right. It's not.
Concentrating on the white heroes, you fucking dopes.
It's like it's like it didn't help your station in
Right.
life. You're
Right.
still in the same
What
job.
message or-
Yeah.
And show the real ugliness that was going on. Like they had this need because it's mostly, and again, mostly white writers, they have this need to show the goodness of the white helpers, and that gets to be really fucking annoying.
Always.
That's why Malcolm X was so great. Not a whole lot of white helpers on that one.
Malcolm X is a great movie.
Fucking another one very underrated. He didn't get nominated for that. It was
that
crazy.
might be the best. You know, that and Inside Man are the two best Spike Lee movies, I think.
You know, like Jungle Fever, Samuel Jackson's best performance
I have
ever?
not seen one of these movies that you are
I know.
discussing.
That's Farrah's function on the podcast. She doesn't see any of the movies.
That's fair.
Yeah, so that basically, usually, she has a fresh take on what the dialogue.
You didn't like...
But I want
Right
to see
Thing
all the
is
ones
good.
you guys are talking about. Sound good.
Do the Right Thing is very good. You didn't like
I
Jungle
did see
Fever?
The
though?
Help.
I
and
thought,
then-
maybe what I'm talking about is underrated. Malcolm X, underrated.
Very.
Inside Man, very underrated.
I didn't see that.
Oh, you'd
I
love
should
it, I
see
think.
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X, you really should. It's great.
Yeah.
Denzel again.
When
should
he's
have won the
driving,
Oscar.
when he's driving to the place where he gets killed,
The
and
Audubon Ballroom.
yeah, and is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And then they're playing not Sam Cooke. They're playing Sam Cooke at that point. Oh, it's perfect.
And Ozzie
Perfect.
Davis did he read the eulogy. 'Cause he did
Yeah.
the real eulogy, and he did it again.
Yeah,
Incredible.
It's a really good movie, and I enjoyed that movie a lot, and I didn't enjoy Do the Right Thing as much as I enjoyed Malcolm X or the other one.
And what's his name? Mandela, who they got at the end to do part of Malcolm's speech about by any means necessary, but he wouldn't do the line by any means necessary. I heard that Nelson Mandela didn't want to say that.
Really?
Because in Africa that things are so fucked up. He didn't want to give the message we're going to do it. He didn't want to give it what could be misinterpreted as a violent message, where Malcolm X meant it as a violent message.
Yeah, in Africa, means are the means are way more hardcore.
Yeah, so he set it up to this life or whatever it was, and then that's why he dubbed in X, which worked out great. But that's why he put in Malcolm X going by any means necessary. He showed him actually saying it because I heard Mandela didn't want to do it.
That's what I mean. Like you, all right, Malcolm X, and granted, it's a more epic tale.
Yeah.
But it's a movie about race, and they did it better. Now I'm not
What's a
comparing.
biography? It's easier. It's a biography. They
yeah,
have real cases. They have real facts.
Yeah.
They just. I mean, if you read his biography, those were just real things that happened.
Right. No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's a higher quality to me. This is lower quality than that. And also, and it's Paul Haggis, who the guy, I thought the script on this wasn't, like, $1 Million Baby, he won back-to-back best directing Oscars for this and $1 Million Baby. And $1 Million Baby had a way better script than this did.
I thought that was good, not great.
I liked it. I thought it was okay, but I thought the script was better than this script. It was weird. Like, I don't know if he was doing it on purpose. Like that Chinaman scene where it was weird how they were over pronunciating Chinaman over and over again. I'm like, I think he's doing this on purpose. Like, so you realize this movie, how much this movie's about race. Every other beat of this movie is like,
Well, maybe
race,
it was just a
race,
humorous.
race. What?
Maybe it was just to be humorous too.
Yeah,
Maybe it might have
it's
been, yeah.
interesting because from Norton's perspective, it's sounding like they didn't, it really showed a lot of sides, this and that. From what you're saying, it's like they beat you over the head with it. Like, was it cheesy or was it not?
Yeah, it was cheesy. It was cheesy parts to it. Yeah.
There might have been, but I didn't think any of it was. And again, and here's the problem with Hollywood. Terrence Howard does not get nominated for that, and he was it's one of the best performances. What's he get nominated for? The Pimp movie,
Yeah.
where he plays a pimp. And there's
Yeah,
all that
that's a good point.
There's all that stuff where Hollywood is comfortable. They don't nominate Spike Lee for anything. Spike Lee is fucking brilliant, man. He's a really fucking unique director. I love the way he shows dialogue, the weird walking scenes. I love him.
Well, the background shot, the when they're there still, and then they have the background moving behind them,
They look like they're on a fucking
like a dolly. Yeah.
But it was almost like Crash kind of called that out in a way, and they normally don't. But they really reward only certain things. What did Halle Berry win for? She's playing this fucking single,
Right.
typical roles.
Well, Terrence, that's what I was going to say, and we said it already a couple times. Terrence Howard, to me, is the standout, the absolute standout, the way acting wise and role wise and everything.
Who they nominate for that movie? Typical Hollywood, Matt Dillon. And he was I thought Matt Dillon was really good in that, but I wouldn't say he was Oscar worthy. I thought he was good and really good, but I thought that Don Cheadle was better, and I thought fucking Terrence Howard was better.
Why didn't Terrence Howard get nominated?
Because it's not a comfortable role for them.
To nominate him, especially back then.
He's racist.
That's
in
13
it.
years ago. I think a lot has changed.
He's not.
That's so
They're
that's
just not
ridiculous.
It
yeah.
sounds crazy and conspiratorial
I get it.
until you see what people have won for and what they don't get nominated for. And unfortunately, they're just really comfortable with black people being nominated for certain things.
And it's the Hollywood foreign press. And honestly, what people don't admit is other countries are just as racist as this country, and they're thinking of it the same way.
I think it's also racial discomfort, not even racial hatred. I think that they just don't know how to, like, they're not comfortable seeing that. Like, they're comfortable with the help because it shows them. Why do you think Ben Affleck's movie won, Argo? Because Hollywood gave themselves a nice little pat on the back. Oh, look, we saved the day, didn't we?
Well, now all these things are creeping up. We might have talked about this already a couple episodes ago, where the movies that don't hold up, and I would put Crash in that. I honestly,
I disagree.
It's getting there. But another one is that people are like online. They're like, now that the internet exists, there's these movies people just rail against.
And people hate this movie, right?
A lot of people hate this movie.
A lot of people do, but it was no one expected it to win Best Picture. I couldn't believe. I was so disgusted.
I remember that
it got nominated for. It didn't get nominated for.
The acting.
Yeah, I was bummed out.
Well, another movie that's like this that people say doesn't hold up, actually that I do think holds up, is American Beauty. American Beauty, people.
Oh yeah, you're on this
hunk of
American
shit.
Beauty.
Oh,
you're on an American
Google
Beauty
it.
train. I've heard you.
People, because they won Best Picture, and people
praises.
are so upset that it won Best Picture.
Yeah, they should be.
American Beauty?
Yeah,
you hated it?
I didn't hate it, but how many guys fantasize jerk off? Do you jerk off thinking about a girl in roses? Stop it! This fucking fruity outlook. It's not realistic.
Madness.
Idiocy. And of course, the Marine was that was over the top. Oh no, the Marine is the fag. We got it. Come on. Holy shit!
But he's great. Chris Cooper.
They're all great.
They're all great.
They're all great. And Kevin Spacey was very good. But that fucking simp, you know what I mean? Jerking off thinking about a girl in a roses. Get the fuck out of here. What non-pervert wrote that? That offended me.
What romantic wrote that one? The other thing, this is what I was going to say about Crash as well. I will say this about it. One of the things I enjoyed, that William Fichtner scene is one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
That?
The one, he's Mr. Flanagan, and he's the assistant to the DA, to Brendan.
Yes.
The other thing is Brendan Fraser's in it, and you can never really take Brendan Fraser that seriously, but he plays
He was
like...
good in that, though.
He was good in it, yeah. But William Fichtner, he's the guy, he's in the first scene of Dark Knight, he was in Go, he's been in so much, he's awesome, he's so good. But he's the guy who does the one he goes, fucking black people. And it's Don Cheadle's like, excuse me? He goes, because he's talking, what happens is, another one of the plot lines, there's a veteran cop, it looks like a metalhead, that shoots a black cop on the road. They're in the cars, and he shoots the black cop, and they don't know why. And they find out that the black cop he had money in the trunk, and he was like dealing drugs on the side and whatever. And there's a scene where Don Cheadle gets pulled in. They don't know how they're going to sell it to the public. And the DA's assistant, who's William Fichtner, pulls him in. The reason I like this scene is because you don't even think of this type of racism. It's super complicated stuff that probably only happens in law enforcement and politics and law enforcement that we don't even deal with. Basically, he's saying is there's two ways that the black cop who got shot can be seen. Either he's a hero that got shot, like he was a hero cop that just lost his line, in the line of duty, he lost his life by another cop shot him, whatever. Or he can be seen as a drug dealing cop and be a bad example, and you have the choice. You pick. What is he seen as?
But they also, Don Cheadle's brother had problems with the law that they would have made go away too, so he had a motive to kind of go with it.
Yeah, so they said, basically they show him his brother's rap sheet, and they go, it's his third offense. This goes away if you do it the way we want you to do it. And I liked it because I'm like, you never think that. You never, ever think that. And also, I'm a white dude, and I don't think of black role models. It means nothing to us because we're not looking up to anybody.
And you also don't think of stuff like when they first get robbed, how the prosecutor the DA doesn't want to say it was two black guys that robbed them. He doesn't want to make a big deal of it because he's afraid it will look bad.
Yeah, he thinks he'll lose the black vote.
They're calling out a lot of this
outright.
Yep.
Yeah,
wow.
they're calling out this fucking horseshit, phony white stuff that white people do with race. It's great.
Yeah.
So people call it politically correct. I didn't think it was politically correct at all.
I don't think it was politically correct. I just think that...
Sounds like a lot to put into one movie.
It is, yeah, but it worked. It just worked.
Yeah.
I found it very entertaining.
I think you know what it was? It was like great cast.
I love his like innocent love for this movie.
I do. It's one of my favorite films.
I think the complaint to me was like if you the melodrama of it. There was a TV movie like feel to it at times. So that's what killed it for me. If it had like, I look at something like, it also deals with race, and I know it's a TV show and they had way more time to set up characters. But I look at The Wire, and you look at something like, as far as like relations go in The Wire, between the cops and drug dealers and black people and all that, like, they just absolutely nailed it in that show. Granted, it's apples and oranges because
5 seasons.
It's 5 seasons, right? Exactly. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, the way they did it was so straightforward and so for real. This became a fantasy world after a while because they were intertwining the lives and they were making it more. It seemed more magical to me than it had to be.
But also, The Wire, by the way, has won nothing. It did not win one award. It was nominated for Emmys in season 5 for who? The writers. A couple of the writers. Not one black guy on that fucking show was nominated.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was sickening.
Which is one of the biggest mistakes.
Right. Because it was an uncomfortable way to show it. They didn't show it in the way that Hollywood would typically show something. They showed it in a very realistic way. That's why I can't figure out, how do you not nominate fucking Wood Harris as Marlo Stanton, as fucking oh my god, Avon Barksdale, or Idris Elba. How do you not nominate these guys? They were fucking incredible.
It's the best,
right? And who's winning? Like,
House.
Right.
Yeah. Ooh, the quirky guy with a limp. Ooh, there's our hero.
He does an American accent.
It's crazy. House will figure it out, but that's what wins.
Right. And The Wire, to me, the only complaint I ever had about The Wire is that sometimes it was too good. Like, sometimes
I need to watch The Wire.
Oh, you have to watch it. It's the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, honestly.
And I have seen a lot of TV.
And because sometimes I'm watching it, and the only complaint I can have is, like, not everything said on a Baltimore City drug corner is going to be that poignant. Like, everything they say is like, oh my god, that's a life lesson. So, like, the writing's so good, the acting's so good, and they're not using, for movies you use big casts. Like, that's another thing. They had to use big names because of whatever, but like, in the TV show, they use these character actors that are just straight up quality. That's real quality acting.
Snoop was a real fucking. She was a real. Felicia Pearson was a real.
Yeah.
Michael Williams just found her in a bar or something, or in a club.
Yeah.
She was legitimately a criminal.
Yeah, after the show ended, she was in jail again. Like, it was like she was acting for a while, then went back or whatever it was. So. That's for real. That rings more true to me from what I can tell. Of course, you know what I'm saying.
But the lines in that were good were weird. Like, some of them weren't typical. Like when Marlo is like when he gets caught stealing by that guy, and he goes, "You want it like
you want it one way,
but it won't. But it's the other way." And that's such a weird. That's not a typical Hollywood line because it's just a weird thing that a guy would say. How does my hair look, Mike? Like, there's some great fucking lines. Snoop, I don't want to give it away, but I mean, come on,
it's great.
It's just awesome.
You have to watch it. You have to.
It's really a great show.
It's unbelievable. So what I'm saying is, like, the fact that exists, and like Malcolm X exists. I'm like, you're looking at it. I'm looking at it through the lens of that. I'm like, I've seen those first. I know that those exist, and they're higher quality pieces of art and pertaining to the same topics.
True, but one was a 5-season masterpiece, and one is a biography.
That's an epic,
which had an absolute guideline to follow. So when you had Denzel playing him brilliantly, I mean, that stuff with Elijah Muhammad, that all happened.
You can't compare.
They're different. One's a fictional work of fiction crossing everything. Because if they were just literally, if they were trying to accomplish the same thing, just using biographical things, it'd be a six-hour movie. You couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Well, they were the when Paul Haggis, the plot line of Matt Dillon in the movie, that was based off a piece of hate mail he got when he was writing for a TV show. Some guy told him his whole story. So that came from real life. And I think a lot of this stuff came from real life. If I have to, play, not devil's advocate because I believe it.
Sure.
But if I have to play the thing, it's that they took it, the drama of it went too...
You're saying it's sappy.
It went too sappy
when
it should have gone realer.
Cheesy.
It should have been realer. Yeah. But not that I'm saying there's not good parts to this. And like I said, that William Fichtner scene I love. And I do love when things intertwine. I do enjoy that. I enjoy Magnolia for that very reason. And I like... What?
Your fucking love for Magnolia is
Well,
ridiculous.
Watch both movies. Watch them. I'm telling you.
I'll see Magnolia again. A lot of people have been mentioning it.
I will see it.
I like Paul Thomas. Paul Thomas Anderson, I don't think... he's amazing. Well, the Master was okay. The Master, you want to talk about great acting, watch The Master. The movie's like so-so.
I think I actually saw that in the theater.
The Master?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
And it sucked.
The movie's not the greatest, but some of the best acting you'll see.
Philip Seymour Hoffman was great.
Yeah.
That's what that guy gets. Paul Thomas Anderson gets the best acting because Boogie Nights has great acting. Magnolia has some of the best acting you'll see, and same thing. The Master, and he did There Will Be Blood.
And you
There Will Be Blood
liked
is
Magnolia?
That was
unbelievable.
good.
What?
You liked Magnolia?
Did you like it?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it immensely.
There Will Be
Oh,
Blood
wow.
was good, but that annoyed me a little bit after a while. Daniel Day-Lewis was so amazing. He's a flake, obviously.
Well, There Will Be Blood is unbelievable.
It dragged a little. I did like the movie, but after a while, I watched some of it again, and I was like, oh, who gives a shit?
Yeah,
Just annoyed me.
What would you rather watch? There Will Be Blood or No Country for Old Men?
I love Javier Bardem in that movie so much, and
Yeah.
Tom Jones was really good. I don't remember that much about it.
I don't
So
know
probably
the
No
difference
Country for
between the
Old
two.
Men. No
I
Country for
definitely
Old
saw
Men.
both, but I can never remember which is which.
I'd rather see-
No Country for Old Men's in my top 5.
I like to see that again more.
They filmed in the same area. They would bump into each other while filming
Oh, yeah.
those two movies. They would have to talk to each other because you'd see the other set in the background.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, let's wrap up here. We usually do this if we can do it. Just to stick to the premise, which we've done the whole podcast. Can you give us 3 reasons why you're defending Crash with Matt Dillon and Ryan Felipe, Mr.
When you
Witherspoon.
say it like that, it's
Ryan
not
Felipe
super convincing.
dash Witherspoon.
Because I think it was very untypical of Hollywood to say the things it said. I think the acting was really great, and I think the casting was really great. I mean, what else can I say? And I also, to me, the message it wanted to send, I liked. Maybe I'm giving you 4 reasons, but I liked the message it sent because it wasn't typical.
And when was the last time you saw it, out of curiosity?
It's been a little while, but every time it's on, I'll watch it.
And it still holds up for you.
It does, yeah. Don Cheadle's he always makes me cry when I watch him, and I don't know why.
Really?
I love Don Cheadle. I have no idea why.
He was an unbelievable actor. But
He's great in everything.
do you remember the circumstances you first saw it in? Was it just going to the theater?
No, I think I just watched it. It might have been on cable even, or
Oh,
it
wow.
might have been in the theater. I just don't remember.
Because we talk about that a lot on the podcast. Circumstances can affect what you think of a movie.
It might have been in the theater. I don't even remember where
But
I
it
saw
sounds like you've seen it a bunch.
Oh,
and
yeah.
always loved it.
I saw this. When I watched it, I'm like, this is the second time I'm seeing this, and I don't realize it. Well, thank you so much for doing this. We got one more
was
question.
fun.
Farrah, will you see the movie?
Yes.
Whoa!
I will see this. This was very convincing, and it's such a different
Sure.
perspective from the two of you that I have to see for myself what it is.
Yeah.
But I have been convinced that this is a good, interesting movie.
And like I said, there's parts of this movie that I watched, and I was like, I like a lot of the people in it. But what I'm saying is, overall, I was like, nah,
I'm not convinced I'll like it, but I do want to see it now.
Yeah, cool.
Can I promote one thing?
You could, yes. Well, that's what I was going to ask.
Stupid tour, kneeling room only. Tickets are on sale. No one gives a shit.
People care.
No, it's I'm starting in Seattle and Portland at the end of the month, and then I got Dallas and Austin. I'm giving all the money from Dallas and Austin shows to the hurricane relief.
Oh, nice.
So I don't feel as bad promoting that.
Yeah.
'Cause Texas is. I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back, but you know, it's just
Where are the
come to the
tickets?
shows
On your site?
JimNorton.com.
Okay, and do you want to promote the other podcast, the Chip podcast?
I do the Chip Chipperson. That's where my career is. I'm at my age. I'm fucking relying on
just
Chip
did a
Chipperson is my biggest hope. I truly am finished. I was having a manic day before I came here. I literally want to hang myself with a belt. So Chip Chipperson is my the Chip Chipperson podcast on Riotcast comes out every Sunday. I'm actually going to tape it right now.
Nice. And Farrah, would you like to say anything?
I just wanted to give a shout out to our Patreon that we started last week, and our first pledge coming from Cheryl Boglarski.
Yes. I don't think we should
Cheryl.
have done her full name.
Why not?
All right, whatever.
Well, maybe we'll edit that out.
You
But
will have
Cheryl,
a new-
we said we were going to call him out on the podcast,
Yes.
and we're so thankful. We're so excited. She was the first.
Yes.
So she's our ride or die.
You are.
And we have great offers at different levels of subscriptions, and there's going to be a lot of bonus episodes starting next week coming out, and I'm really excited. We had I don't know what the fuck to say to it. Spend $500 and you can come to the movies with me and Sean. I don't know. I thought that was funny.
That was great. Well, thank you. Also, as far as show stuff goes, yeah, the Patreon is new. Check that out.
it out.
Patreon.com/DefendYourMovie. Also, we have a Twitter @DefendYourMovie. We have a Facebook page, Facebook.com/DefendYourMovie. Please, email us, defendyourmovie@gmail.com. Let us know what movies you would like to see defended. And if we can pull it off, we will. Let us know what you think of the podcast. Also, anything else you'd like to let us know. Whatever.
Just
what you had for
send
breakfast, doesn't matter.
compliments.
Yeah.
Send positive feedback.
Send whatever. And we tape the show at Showbiz Studios. We want to thank Alex once again. They have a bunch of great shows. They have Matt Goldrich's show, David Feldman's, Jessica Kerson's, a whole slate of shows.
David Feldman, the stand-up from San Francisco?
Yep.
He's a funny fucking dude.
He's unbelievably funny.
I haven't seen David in a long time, but he really, really...
his podcast is... You should do his podcast.
I would love to. I think he did some joke. He worked with me in San Francisco years ago, where he said, whenever I pray at the end, instead of saying amen, I say, and make it snappy. I might have butchered his joke, but David Feldman's a fucking funny dude.
He does a podcast here. It's great. Yeah.
Make it snappy.
Well, thank you again for doing this,
Thank
man.
you.
I really appreciate it. And we will see you next week. All right. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.